What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In today's video, we are jumping into the Insurgent Iron Man, issue 6, 7, and 8. This is diving us into one world under Doom, with Doom now emperor of the entire planet. It appears that all the world governments, populations all over, they love the new Sorcerer Supreme. They love Emperor Doom, savior of the world. Even the Avengers, they have been unable to find any evil in his schemes. At least not yet. And so while everybody has failed to take down Doom, Tony decides it's time to take a different approach. Iron Man building some new armor. He takes the fight to Doom's door. Today, Tony Stark becomes a terrorist. Now, make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we're picking up in the Russian province of United Latveria. Tony Stark has arrived. He sits down with the commander. Today, they talk revolution. And as they sit down, our commander, he goes on to explain what they really want, obviously, is an Iron Man suit. They are the Latverian Patriotic Front, the LPF. They know what it takes to fight this. They are the resistance that stands against Doom. And Tony really does start this off by letting him know, if we're gonna get this started, if we're gonna have conversation, know right off bat, there is no way in hell you are ever getting an Iron Man suit. What he does offer them is a way to get around bank sanctions, information to log into a bottomless crypto wallet, being able to mine coins at arc reactor speeds. And our commander, he looks at this and then asks Tony to come outside with him. When they go outside, this is where we see a man with a bag over his head, Vishta Taryu, telling Tony that he was part of the Liberation Front, but he broke ranks. He cultivated a forbidden power. He needs to know that Tony isn't gonna break ranks. He tells him to draw your sword and kill him, even offering Tony up a pistol, telling Tony that you're an Avenger. You must have killed before. The path that we tread, it is going to require us to kill again and again. They know that Doom will not be overthrown innocently, that if we hesitate, we will die. There is only one path to victory. This is when Tony says to tell me more about this path, that we can always come back out here, but before we kill anybody, I need to know what the hell I'm buying. And so when they go back inside, he explains the whole plan. The commander knows that a frontal attack on Doom is suicidal. What they need is Stark missiles. He may have purged the officer corps, but there are still those that are loyal, those that won't bend a knee, they won't submit to Doom. And so when the time comes, a lot of the army is ready to stand up and fight. But he doesn't want Tony to sell these missiles to him. He wants Tony to sell these missiles to Doom. The missiles will reside in the depots of their allies. First artillery will ring, their infantry will march upriver, show the army that it's theirs, not Doom's. He knows that Doomstad can really stand up to a siege, it can withstand. But this is the point, they want Doom to retreat, to stay hidden in his castle. He believes that Latveria, they'll take away the power from Doom, that the people separated from their heartland, the heartland separated from their army, would be unbearable, that they would blame Doom for this. And Tony does warn that you expect to be treated like liberators. Something in the West that we learned, that's not always the case. But he swears that Latveria will stand with the army. In the midst of this discussion, there is a giant explosion. Both Tony and the commander sent flying. And who we have showing up is none other than the Winter Guard. Red Widow and her team are here. Today they have come to kill an Avenger for defiling the motherland, the United Latverian province of all the Russias, for collaborating with fascist traitors to their Emperor Doom. Today, the Winter Guard kills Iron Man. Or so they think. What they didn't know is that Tony upgraded his armor. So when the Crimson Dynamo charges in on Tony, the Dynamo is knocked quickly out of the sky. Same with Red Widow. Same with Ursa. Ursa Major taken out just as quickly. While Tony is scrambling, up on a hilltop nearby, we have Black Widow. The Winter Guard focusing all their attention now on her. Iron Man's wondering what the hell she's doing here. And she came to check on him, to see what he's doing, how he's doing things, to save him from himself. Saying that they'll talk about this on the Quinjet, but they gotta get out of here. As they leave, they also grab Vishta, the kid that was gonna be assassinated by the commander, grabbing him and making their escape. We see Red Widow talking to the commander, telling him that he must leave at once, that she'll be unable to protect him on the soils of the United Latvian province of all the Russias, but also warning that should you make a deal with Iron Man, you will never reign over Latveria, because Russia will never tolerate NATO influence, that Latveria will never know peace if you have Tony Stark as your backing. Taking us onto the Quinjet, we pick up with Widow and Tony, and Widow's really just saying, I don't recognize you. I don't recognize your behavior. I don't recognize how you're acting. Right now, you're sponsoring a terrorist group, that you're my friend and I care about you. She wants them to stick to the plan. Trust in the Avengers. We will win like we always do. But right now, Tony's faith in that is shaken. They're losing. Every moment they spend trying to plan, they lose more. The battlefield isn't static. Every day becomes more dangerous. A man like this will not be overthrown innocently. Doom has destabilized them, and Tony knows that LPF isn't the best option, but they are the only Latvian opposition right now as it stands. If Latvians rise, they shatter his illusion. He becomes a tyrant again, not a savior. Natasha tries to warn that you don't understand what destabilizing governments truly does, but she does. Every day she wishes she didn't. She tells him to have faith in Earth's mightiest, thanking her for this information, thanking her for this pep talk, putting him back on the right track. When he shows up at his board meeting the next day, he didn't adhere to any of it. He tells the board that they are getting back into the weapons business. And that is what will take us into issue number 7. The news has gone out to the world. Tony Stark is making weapons again. As the people cheer, the people excited, at least the people that are invested in Stark Unlimited, because they're about to make some money. This is what takes us back over to Stark Tower. Iron Man sporting one of his older suits when he's moving around the city. For whatever reason, Tony is not ready for the Avengers or anybody else to see his new suit. This could be because of everything he's doing. He's worried the Avengers are going to come after him. He needs to have a trick up his sleeve for when that day comes. But he's got bigger problems at play when he gets to Stark Tower, because Melinda May, aka the Cavalry, she's pissed. Tony insulted her, threatened her. She got taken to a hell dimension, fired, all to stop this company from making weapons, and now Tony's announcing that they are now making weapons. Add in the fact that she's head of security. She's Tony's right hand now. So this is the kind of information that she believes Tony should be telling her. And so, agreeing, understanding where she's coming from, he takes her inside and he's like, all right, it's time you learn the plan. Showing a map of Latveria, he begins telling her everything, starting with the Latvian Patriotic Front, the only organized Latvian opposition to Dr. Doom. But this isn't him necessarily helping a coup. They're gonna arm Doom. They don't need the LPF to win. They don't particularly want them to win. They're not a great group of individuals. The things they have done, not necessarily the people you want in charge. But Tony needs them to fight a long war. Months, years if it takes that. That is victory. If Doom can't hold Latveria, he can't hold the world. That's where the cavalry comes in. he needs her as the liaison between Tony and the LPF. He cannot interact with them directly. Obviously, all of this is off the books. The Avengers don't know about it, none of them can know about it. And also, they have a Black Widow problem. So he needs somebody that can hold her own against Black Widow. That would be the Cavalry. With her being on board with this plan, this is when they are interrupted. Latveria's champion, Victorious, has come in. She has come for the sword, or the head of Tony Stark. Ignoring the summons of Latveria, of the Emperor, Iron Man quickly suits up, ensuring that the cell phone service in this area is blocked out. This way, nobody can send out a live stream of Tony doing anything in this new suit. And we see that Vishta, he's more than just some kid that was gonna get executed. He is, at least by appearances, a mage, a magic wielder, using his powers trying to chain up Victorious. A wielder of the power cosmic cannot be held down by such chains. Breaking free of them, her and Tony go toe-to-toe, and Tony recognizing that it is true. She has the power cosmic, which means Tony doesn't have to hold back. Hitting her with a full blast, hitting her with the repulsor. She falls out of the sky, and when she comes to, Tony is waking her up, doctors surrounding her, and Tony's letting her know, like, you're all right, but there's a lot going on here, a lot that you need to understand. Tony asking for the opportunity to explain what's going on, how this is all gonna work. The two of them sit down, they have a conversation. Tony acknowledges that Doom is Emperor of the world, a fact he recognizes. But that leaves one big question. If this is the way of the world now, then what is Stark Unlimited's relationship to Emperor Doom? Of course, she's gonna say that all of this is under the sovereignty of Doom. This is all his. So Doom has to beg the question, are you seizing Stark Unlimited? Is my company to be the property of Emperor Doom? Should I die, me and you having a rematch? We're the world's largest supplier of zero-emission energy, its leading technology company, and once again, its most advanced defense contractor be taken by the Empire, while the global financial markets simply watch. Now, at first, she's a little confused at what he's getting at. And what he's getting at is, does Emperor Doom wish to tell the entire capitalist world that it's over today? That the world's most influential people stand to lose everything? Because when they see the head of Tony Stark, they'll think that this united Latverian guillotine is coming for their head next. Has Emperor Doom come to end capitalism? And if the answer is no, then we have to figure something out. She tells Tony that you're a subject of Doom, but something that Tony's come to learn, that if he were to cancel all of his contracts with various national militaries around the world, also all subjects of Doom, then several of those militaries would consider themselves to be at the peak of their strength, meaning that would be their last chance to rid themselves of Doom. The truth is, Tony doesn't want to sell weapons. Tony has to sell weapons. This is how they maintain the balance of power in this new empire. That it's all cute and fun that Doom outlawed war, but peace under a new global order doesn't just emerge. Victor has provoked challenge at scale, explaining that thinking among the new subjects, all this could lead to war if he were to dump their contracts. The best he sees it, there is only one way to part with them, to avoid war. Him doing this, selling these weapons, reassures the markets, prevents global instability. All of this by making Stark Unlimited the provider of technological energy, defense infrastructure for all of United Latveria. Victorious insulted for Doom. She lashes out that it was a mistake to parlay with the dead man. He tries to explain that now that Doom is Emperor, taking the weapons off the market is like pulling a pin from the grenade. Doom doesn't want to start his regime with bloodbath. This is the only way to defuse it. That Doom, backed by Stark weapons, every military in the world would have no choice but to accept Doom. He doesn't expect Doom to trust him, trust that he doesn't want war. Victor knows this to be true. Stark Unlimited is a strategic resource. They are crucial for energy, for technology, for defense. By cornering all of these, It secures his position. Any trust after that, they'll have to build. And his olive branch is Tony Stark bending a knee that Victor will have to understand his public need to stand with the Avengers. But as their relationship develops, Victor may find that relationship to be useful. Victorious taking this information to Doom, telling him to stand by for his decision. This is the beginning. The rebellion has started. Tony Stark goes to dethrone an emperor. Taking us over to issue number 8. We pick up in Iraqi Kurdistan. We have our commander meeting up with Melinda, selected as the personal liaison between Tony Stark and the LPF, sitting down, having a drink, renting out the entire hotel. This is where they discuss. This is where they plan. This is where they begin to learn how to fight. But while they sit down to have this discussion, they are quickly interrupted yet again by the Winter Guard. As the Winter Guard descends down on the cavalry, we pick up with Tony and Vishta, and we're learning a little bit about Vishta. He's a self-taught mage. His whole goal, obviously, is to take down Doom, but he's got a long way to go before he can actually take Doom down. While the two of them have a conversation, we do see the consequences of him using magic. That this magic, it comes with a toll, as his face begins to crack and a bright glow from behind it shines. This is the consequence of him using that magic. While they have this conversation, Tony gets a notification. One of his facilities, the Union, is striking again. This is the problem that he had just dealt with. Now he has to go figure out what the hell's going on. Suiting up and heading out, he arrives to yet again some bodyguards beating up the locals, beating up the employees. So when Tony shows up, he's got to take the head guy down. Wondering, like, Melinda, what the hell were you thinking hiring these guys? Squashing all of this, getting some civility back to the situation, he grabs Ramon and takes him inside and says, me and you, we're having a talk. Now, Ramon's the guy he talked to in the past. Talked to about squashing all of this, starting the Union up, and really getting things going again. Tony's trying to figure out what the hell went wrong. And what went wrong is that nobody came to talk to them. Tony made a lot of promises, but then he ended up in the hospital. He ended up with Doom taking over the world. He was so busy, he was unable to focus on what he promised. And Tony admits that you're right. This one's on me. Consider the contract proposal that you sent over ratified. We will finalize it and be done with it, but I need you guys to get back on this line. Like, war could break out if we're not making missiles. But Ramon just doesn't care. And Tony, he tries to explain, like, I don't want to do this, but those missiles have to come online. Whether it be you or me automating this entire factory. Obviously, he gets defensive, saying that you're gonna fire all 800 people. Are you out of your mind? That's you saving us from Doom. He tells him no matter what, we're not working another minute without a contract. And the price just went up. That their walkout fund, they just got a huge donation. So they got time. Now, when Tony hears that they got a huge donation, he goes to exactly who's responsible for it. He knows who did this. He goes to Black Widow, with her in Midtown pretending to be an old lady. When she sees Iron Man coming in, that old lady turns into a gymnast and starts shooting at Iron Man. Finally getting her to calm down, Tony has a conversation. More, it's Natasha saying, I need you to listen to me. What you're doing is gonna get innocent people killed. You don't want to hear that, but it's true. You don't like the alternative, which is let the Avengers handle it. And you want to blame me for what happened at your factory today because I deposited money into their bank account. But all she did is move money. That's all she needed to do. So ask yourself why 800 employees of yours were so ready to strike. You don't want to be an arms dealer, Tony, so shut it down. The next time she comes back, she says she's coming back with the Avengers. So don't make her come back. Tony's showing back up to the factory and sitting down with these guys. Vishtu had been having a conversation trying to figure out what their best option is, and they came to a conclusion. What Ramon wants is a board seat, a say in what happens with the company. Now at first, this is really hard for Tony. He just got control of his company back, but Ramon doesn't think that he's asking for too much. Telling Tony, you're a man that was born rich. You parlayed that into more wealth. Even if you took your Iron Man suit off, you would still be one of the most powerful men in the world. Now you're telling me that having a say in this company, which you told me I would have, is asking too much. The same company that needs us to make weapons. The same company that would get rid of us when we show our strength. This is when Tony says 3 seats. The board has 8 seats now. They'll sign the contract and reserve 3 seats on the board for the union. They shake hands and Tony takes off. Now, Vishta is kind of confused, kind of shocked. Never thought he would see a CEO sign away his company like that. But the way Tony sees it, he didn't sign away control. He shared it. Ramon was right, not just about Stark Unlimited. They cannot free the world from doom and just go back to the status quo. The status quo failed people that were like Ramon. So if there's ever gonna be any kind of change, that change has to come from people like Tony, people with the position and power to make change. And when Tony gets the notification from Red Widow that she has Melinda, that she has the commander, Vishta, inspired by Tony, inspired at his selflessness, his ability to tuck away his ego for the betterment of everybody, Vishta says that he is going to be the savior now. Stepping up, our mage is here to kick some ass. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Definitely not a bad series so far. Iron Man as a whole has been really great. If you haven't been keeping up with it, you gotta check out my playlist. I've been getting caught up on everything Iron Man related. This is getting us caught up to the most recent issue, Insurgent Iron Man. Now, we still haven't got a full explanation on his new suit, but I cannot wait to find out about it. He is yet to really fully let out on it. And you know they had to do something after getting rid of Miss Mysterium suit. They definitely had to bring something to the table that was gonna be on another level. But I like the direction that they're going with this. Iron Man, a man that has got a ridiculous amount of money, a ridiculous amount of power. He is using that power and influence to become a terrorist, to sponsor terrorism, to sponsor the rebellion. And a story like this, it really does provoke so many questions. It helps you understand that one person's terrorist is another person's freedom fighter, that there's more nuance to war than simply black and white. Now, you could argue that in a world of superheroes, in a world of people like Captain America, nuance goes away a little bit. But when you have someone like Doom who comes in, takes complete control, and even Earth's mightiest fall to him, you resort to the tactics that have worked for millennia. But is it the right path? The morally questionable things you have to do, the ethically adjacent things that you'll be forced into. How much of your humanity do you lose fighting a war like this? And I think that's the thing that Natasha's really trying to get through to Iron Man. She understands more than anybody what it is to lose your humanity. If Iron Man continues down this path, while his motives, his intentions started out great, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your theories. If you want to get caught up on everything going on with this series, go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It is going to get you completely caught up on everything that is going on with this series. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Much like Patreon, having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only are you helping out the channel tremendously, you are getting tons of perks in the process. Now, if you're unable to do this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.